Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The 5 key-bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of 2 different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udeput, where the ceaseless temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds.
That's enough banter. That's enough camaraderie.
Yes. Down to business.
Time to become an adversarial GM. Yes, got it.
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone, welcome back to Desperate Attune. Welcome back to our Gates in the Dark campaign, taking place in Uduasha, following the adventures of the Ceaseless Temple and its various devotees. In the last session, the Ceaseless Temple was strong-armed into attempting to obtain some kind of devices, some kind of machinery, very delicate glass things, one that the lawyer Hardil Subramaniam did and was unable to obtain at any price, it seems. And therefore, Hardil requested the Ceaseless Temple to acquire these on his behalf. While some of the information gathering last session went okay, I'm actually looking at the rolls from last session, and they are really bad. You rolled consort 4 times in a row, and you didn't roll a 6 once. So it's really quite something. I think that where we left off was you rolled 2 dice for engagement, but you had 0 dice. So the 6 that you rolled doesn't count, and instead you rolled a 3, which means you were in a desperate position to start off with. Before I describe exactly how we're starting off with that, what is exactly everyone's position? Or, like, where do you think each of you is going to be located while you try and pull this off?
So, the plan was to steal a carriage at first, if I remember correctly. Let's just recap the plan. The plan was to steal the carriage from Begum Bashundara and then pretend that we are driving in as legitimate buyers, normal people, and then just purchase the items and leave. This is how we justified it as not really being stealing, but I mean, we're still stealing the carriage, but we're borrowing it. We'll return it later.
And significantly, we were planning to just leave a check with Hardil's signature on it, presumably. Thus,
yes,
clearly
we're paying for this. Hardil agreed that we are allowed to pay for this in his name, so we're gonna do that.
Yes, he did. He did. He did. You're correct. I will also, actually, the other thing that I should do in the intro, which I forgot to do, is introduce all of our players. I'm Soumithri or Tree, and my players in some kind of order are Emma.
I am here.
Zoheb.
Was that you saying my name, Tree?
Yes, that was me saying your name so that you can say hi.
All I heard was the consonant Z.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to fiddle with the gain again.
Is that not your name?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Anyway, Zoheb.
Hello. That's me.
Prince.
Hi.
And Aadiyat.
Yippee!
Good luck to whoever is editing this episode. Anyway, we're going to steal a carriage, ride the carriage to the train station where the equipment is. Somehow con your way into getting to the equipment so that you can steal it, and then leaving a check in Hardil's name, because Hardil's client / boss Munna did try to buy it, but was rebuffed.
Munna,
Why
I thought
is
we were
it-
stealing this. I thought we were buying these on behalf of Peter Samhorse.
Yes, I'm so sorry, Mr. Peter Samhorse. I did forget that, like, in a moment of panic last week, I was like, I need to give this guy a name, and I picked Samhorse. I don't know why this happened, but I'm stuck
His
with
middle
it
name
now.
his middle name is real name.
Yeah. Samhorse. That's his name.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. I guess you're stealing a carriage first.
Yeah. So I think the point of entry, at least that I would suggest, is that Freya would put on like some sort of like I don't know if they have like actual uniforms, like the Udeput Development Commission or whatever, like Begum Bashandar's thing. But like I would be dressed the way that they'd be dressed, and with a big fake spirit gum mustache, and like a sort of like peaked cap, and I'd be walking towards the gate, kind of like with a clipboard.
Okay. The workers don't exactly have a uniform. But I do think that, like, when Begum Bashundara is around, she berates them for not looking prim and proper as is required by the contract that they signed. And that is just like the cost of working for Begum Bashundara, because she does pay well, to be very fair to her. And I think that, like, a site that you're walking towards.
Yeah, I'm going to roll lifestyle to see how prim and proper I can look.
What are you trying to look like?
4.
That's a 4.
So there's no actual uniform, right? So I just want to look like I'm a serious person, striding forward with my big serious real mustache and my clipboard.
Okay. Well, I mean, you in that case do look serious to some extent.
Who wants to be beside me as we look serious?
It can't be Abbas, because I think that this might involve shaving and putting on something other than his, like, robes, like kurta and pajamas, and he's not going to do that.
Where do you think I got the facial hair from?
Mm.
Oh my god. I actually say with a 4 that the spirit gum is better than it should be, so the mustache will probably stay on for a bit. It's not just going to fall off at the first provocation.
So is it Joan or Vickers that is the backup here? Emma, what do you think?
I'm not entirely sure. That's a good question. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, I think you two should do it. I think Vickers is supervising the scene from a rooftop in case something goes wrong.
Excellent.
Very good. Is the rest of your roof ball team here as well?
Yes, I haven't brought them for the past couple of scores, but I think I have them around now. They're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, so you're definitely involving Augustus Khan
Oh
in
yeah.
more crime,
Oh yeah.
which is the one thing that, like, he shouldn't be doing. Great, fantastic.
Yes, I mean he's part of the team now, and to be
Yes,
clear,
he
the
is.
roofball team is mostly here to keep people safe. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but like Morrison is sorry. I'm so sorry. Augustus has seen his fair share of adventures, so
yes,
he'll know what's up.
yes, he'll know what's up. But more importantly, he will approach them now as Augustus Khan, daring, daredevil, not as Morrison, petty thug. So it makes a world of difference.
Correct. It really does. Yeah. So I think you are approaching this site, which is, I think it was originally a tomb to like some like minor noble who spent a ton of money building himself this tomb, and then went and promptly died and got buried in it, and over the years kind of fallen into disrepair, and now it's like being transformed. But the way that Begum Bashundara is transforming this is that she is making the tomb the centerpiece of a modern art gallery. And you can see that like original architecture are being changed in order to like better suit the aesthetic of the kind of art that is going to exist in the space from now on. And definitely things are being painted over that should not be painted over. But like even as I describe this, I can feel like my gorge rising. So I'm gonna stop.
I'm wondering now what Begum Bashundara's art style is. What kind of modern art does she favor?
Bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I was also this weekend at a literary festival that.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I really hope nobody who is doing HLF is listening to this, but I don't care. It was
They
not
probably
very
aren't.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're unlikely to be. It was kind of shit. So I will tell you what kind of art she favors, which is that in the Imperial Quarter, I think, and this is recent. This was after she got the contract with Archibald Ashcroft. She built a structure of like wood and bamboo. Hired the best carpenters and artisans in Uduasha, and it is a structure that defies explanation. It is no good whatsoever. It like people have to come every day to like fix it because it will literally like break down from a stiff breeze. And yeah, people are encouraged to come in, and like there are instruments lying around, and people are encouraged to come in and play the instruments and make it like some kind of multi-sensory experience. And I'm definitely not talking about something that I may or may not have seen recently.
But this sounds great. Like it's a building that like needs constant maintenance, so it's like constantly job creating.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, I think so. This space is kind of being set up for like things to hang from the ceiling in some form. It's being set up for like interactive pieces so that like you can play with them. I think some of the art form has already been kind of decided, so she's left very specific instructions, all this kind of thing. But it's not finished yet.
The only thing that's missing is some sort of very bland slogan on the wall about how like sustainability is important or something. It completes the suite.
Yeah, I think we do literally see a large pamphlet, large like a plaque on the site saying that this site is being built with the most modern discourses on how to dynamically engage with the local economy in a responsible fashion to make sure that we constantly provide jobs and so on.
I see that we are going full on into attacking the GM. You are correct. Okay, cool. So yeah, Joan and Freya, the two of you approach this structure. I think that like, as is the case with many modern developments, even in our world today, most of the structure is kind of like fenced around with some kind of like, probably in Uduasha, painted wood. And there are definitely like a couple of people standing outside this structure, very bored but on the lookout for something to happen. And I think your desperate position here is that something does happen, which is that you see, Freya, the face of your rival.
Yes.
You see Constance Constable, Imperial Inspector, recently of Duskwall, approaching with normally an inspector of this kind would have some backup. Someone, maybe a bodyguard. This one has nothing, and she is executing a parade perfect march.
I will also say that Freya has never met this person in her life. She has no idea who this is.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. Well, I mean, you will have to meet her now then. And you definitely recognize, by the way, an inspector. Like, this is bad enough news, right? It's not like, even if it was a different inspector, this would be bad news, right?
Yeah.
But you see her executing a parade perfect march, and she draws from her jacket a crisp, somehow unfolded, even inside her jacket, and the camera sees that it is a warrant. And I think that we see a brief flashback of Constance Constable discovering that Begum Bashundara has filed against the temple for embezzlement, like connecting that to rumors that the temple was maybe like had interfered with the Kingfisher Grotto, and like doing some police work and then realizing that Bashundara is definitely in some way connected to Freya. And today's the day that she happens to be checking this one out, but I think she's been actually like regularly visiting all of these sites because that's what you do when you're an inspector. You do what you need to do. And now everyone in the site is on very high alert because they can't say no to an inspector, but they're going to try and delay her as much as possible.
This is fine, but like for the benefit of the viewer, like I'm just a little concerned that they'll be like, "Who's this? Why is they interested in Freya? Why are we talking about as though we know them?"
Freya was a person of deep interest to both the imperial government and to the government of Uduasha. She was not priority 1 necessarily, but she was maybe priority 2. And Instance Constable was the inspector newly assigned to her case just before the events in the grotto took place. And so she was sent to Uduasha very recently, probably has not been promoted for longer than a couple of months. And I think the reason that she's your rival is that she knows that like the mission was to grab you. It doesn't matter whether or not you now say you're going to take over Scotland. That's her remit, and she's going to fulfill it.
Fair enough. Okay, I can also tell that this is an inspector because they're wearing the uniform of the inspectors, which is a pinstripe black suit, a cane, and a bowler hat.
Wow. That's what inspectors were? That's incredible. Okay.
Oh no, it's not a cane, it's an umbrella.
Sure, yes.
So basically, the inspectors look a bit like Thompson and Thompson from Tintin.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes. Not a bit.
Yes.
Exactly that.
Okay,
Wonderful.
great, fantastic. She also has a pair of very fine dueling pistols at her hips. I think these are probably her main weapons. But she's seen things, and she's probably confident in a wide manner of conflict. And you see her arguing with the people in front of the gate, insisting she must have access to the site, and insisting that she must be permitted to inspect anything and everything because she's got a warrant. She's like gone through all the procedures. Do this.
And is the cart that we are trying to steal, like, are we expecting it to come through the gates, or are we also trying to get in?
Well, I was expecting to get in, but now that there's constable trying to get in, I think I would not want to get in, and I don't know what to do.
But the cart is on the inside, right? Just to clarify.
So it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is on the inside. The way that I imagine this is that it's not like you can't break into the place and not like you can't get the cart out. It is rather that because of like just sheer bad luck, the place is on high alert. There is someone here very interested in grabbing exactly one of you. In fact, the person who's approaching.
Yeah. Although she's disguised, there's no way she would recognize Freya under that mustache.
Oh, no way. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a fine disguise cut.
Yes. I have one question about the carriage, just as a world building thing. In Uduasha, are the carriages pulled by goats, like they are in Duskfall, or like what sort of draft animals are used here?
Oh, excellent question.
This is the imperial quarter, so maybe it is a Duskfall, an Akoros standard carriage, but maybe it is also not. I don't know.
Oh, is this also the imperial quarter? I thought it was not there. I know we have to get there, but I didn't know if we were at the imperial quarter already.
I think that I don't think I specified exactly where this was. This could really be.
This is the Udeput commission. Udeput Restoration Commission. Should be Udeput, I guess.
Okay, so my suggestion is if it isn't goat, it is probably a wax golem.
Ooh.
Yes, that's what I was thinking as well. And I think it's not a shape that like any of us would like naturally think of when we think of something pulling a carriage, because I imagine that this is a golem that is, you know how in James Cameron's Avatar films, all of the alien organisms are like six-legged? They are. And I think that in this case, the golem also has like kind of like 6 legs, thing that you could call like a front or a back. Rather, the way the internal mechanism works is that like it could just as easily move in either direction. And I think that's like a feature of like the way that these golems are made. Yeah, and I think you see like, or at least we see on camera that the cart is inside, and it's like probably not very far from the entrance, because again, the way that this kind of like construction will work is that like things will go in and come out, but like carts themselves will kind of like go into the gate, get unloaded, get loaded, and then leave. And then it's not very far, I don't think, but yeah.
Okay. You know what? Constable wants to get in. That's fine. I have a clipboard. I look at Joan and say, "Oh, shall we just join the entourage of the inspector and wave our clipboards along and just kind of trail in her wake?"
He
Sounds
doesn't
very
have an
reasonable.
entourage.
Well, she does now.
Okay, cool.
We are the entourage.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll just make sure to space ourselves a little bit so that like she doesn't see us, and then we just kind of be like we're with her.
You could do it. The other thing I was thinking is maybe we do have an imperial inspector on Washington territory, and so Abbas could go off on a rant and distract this
both?
person. Yeah.
Why not both? Yes. While the inspector is distracted by the rant, the inspector's staff will enter ahead of her while she's busy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Really.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do this. You should, like, I imagine you're gonna interrupt at the right moment, because the fact is that she will get access to this place in short order, because she is allowed to, and she's not gonna be.
Yeah, but like we want her to have access to the place, because if she has access to the place, her entourage has access to the place. We just don't want her to physically access the place. We want her to get distracted.
Ideally, I think they will say like, "All right, inspector, pass by right in." And at the moment that they have said that, Abbas approaches.
Colonizer!
There's another
Yeah.
way of playing this, which is that currently the inspector is not being allowed inside.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's
Right.
like, do you really have all the forms? And like, I have to check with
Yeah.
my supervisor. And he's on break. Maybe you could come back tomorrow. It's a lot of that kind of thing.
So
They're not
the
really allowed to say no. But
Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
the other way to play it would be for Abbas to help the inspector get inside.
Sure.
They're like,
yes.
"Oh, what's going on
Absolutely.
here?" No, I see, Inspector. All your papers are in order. I don't know what it was.
So
Yeah,
just
I
some
mean, if
random
you wanna
old
do
man
that,
shows
that's
up and
absolutely-
says, "Yes, you're all in order. You can go into the site."
No, but it would be like, try help her overcome whatever like excuses they're gonna throw at her. And in fact, this might work, because Abbas would like to screw over the cause any trouble for Bigum from her that he can.
I see.
Yes,
So
that is
like
true.
just a
All right.
passing
Okay. So
Uduashan
let's.
gentleman.
Yeah,
who
so
sees
let's say
this
Abbas
problem.
is just strolling down the street. He's like, "Oh, just minding my own business," and he sees what Constable
You see
Constance.
an imperial inspector annoyed. Not that I don't think that like a regular person would see it, but you have like looking into a mirror, which I do think gives you some insight, like also into like body language and stuff. And you can just see like the tension building in her shoulders. She's just like, no, I don't care that they're on break, and no, I don't need a guide. I can take care of myself. In fact, I've already studied the plans to your renovations. I know exactly what I'm doing. No, I will not stop for some chai. This is the third time you've asked me. Get out of my way. That kind of thing.
I think Abbas got his hands behind his back. He comes over and goes, "Inspector, it says, well, good morning." "Oh, morning. What seems to be the problem here? You are causing quite the ruckus."
I think that like the inspector doesn't respond, but like site 4 foreman that she's talking to, I think that like I guess foreman, 4-person, whatever. The person who's in charge looks at you and says, "Oh, move along. This is none of your business. Just some Udeput randos turn up and think they can." Anyway, ma'am, I'm sorry. This is happening, and like just like tries to brush you off.
"I beg your pardon. This is definitely my business. This is a community neighborhood, and you two are causing so much nuisance for everyone. Whatever it is, sort it out so everyone can just go back to their day. You're making it everyone's business."
And I think Constable takes this opportunity to say, if Miss Patel will just permit me inside, the ruckus will be settled. So how about it, Miss Patel? Or would you like me to write you up for public disorder? And like now this like 4 women is getting annoyed, because now it's like well, for fuck's sake, like now the inspector's now gonna do more shit. Like I don't need this in my life. And I think she says, okay, look, I have to check with my supervisor. No, and like just gets interrupted because Constable says, enough of your out of my way. And like you're at a bit of an impasse now. Yeah. Anyway, actually, as I was doing it, I realized this doesn't need to be narrated because the thing is that even after Abbas interrupts, the forewoman, Miss Patel, is and the inspector is still not going to not be let in. I think Abbas, you have to like there's an action to be made here.
I'm gonna try to like find out what the worst possible like. First, I was just gonna say that you don't like if the inspector has her papers in order, right? You don't need any supervisor. But I'm gonna try to think of because Abba should know the laws fairly well, like what the worst thing the inspector is that they can do, and like kind of make a thinly veiled threat on her behalf. So. So I think that might have to. I might have to think of something or study. I guess might be the role in that case.
I think that like if you, I mean, you have planned this, or rather that like, no, I think like you could have like planned for something like this without a problem. So I think if you take like a one stress. Well, no, we know that actually Abbas is very well learned in the rando bureaucracy of Uduwasha, so I don't think it would be stress for you. How about you just roll study as a fortune to see like how good the specific thing you're trying to intervene with is.
All right.
And I think that okay, I was gonna offer you a devil's bargain. It's totally fine
Oh.
because it's a 1 in a 3. I think that like the 1 in a 3, you will get news that you don't like, or rather you remember something that you don't want to remember, which is when an inspector is involved, actually 99% of the bureaucracy doesn't matter. Because the law is whatever the inspector says it is.
Oh.
What is happening here is that like because the law is whatever the inspector says it is, she's being delayed through not legal means. She's being delayed through like social, deception, that kind of thing.
So when you said the law is whatever the inspector is, like if the inspector decides that she can just go in now, that she can?
This inspector is actually very by the book, and so therefore has all the permissions. But actually, the inspectors are an elite task force, even in like the imperial like constabulary and so on, and they are given like very wide powers to pursue their like missions in whatever fashion they deem fit.
But is she being like conscientious and being like, okay, if you don't let me in, I'm going to wait until you let me in?
Yeah, pretty much what she's saying is, if you make me wait longer than necessary, then I will write you up for obstruction of justice. I will then add a charge of willfully lying to an officer, and like she's just going to like list out all of the crimes that they could be charged for, and she's going to be like, of all of these, do you want me to add more? And she's not even doing this as a threat. This is just a fact.
Okay, so the problem with this cop is that they're not being abusive enough.
Yeah, this should be extremely funny for Abbas because like I would imagine that if his impression of an inspector is like they have a warrant, they can just come into any old part of the empire, they can wander into an
Which they can,
tent, and
which they can, but this one is choosing not to do.
You should like encourage her to be more.
I know that's
like
what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm gonna I guess just whisper call her over to like huddle and whisper in her ear like, ma'am, I don't understand. You imperial inspectors, you can go wherever you want, anytime. You knock down doors. Look, I understand. Judging from your body language, I can tell that what you're trying to find here is very, very important, right? And if you don't step up over here, your query will probably just get away. So I think it's time to step up, Inspector. Just put her in her place. Just go in. She can't stop you.
Yeah, I think this is a role.
Yeah.
You're in a desperate position because, like we've just established, the inspector can write you up for just breathing. And I think right now you're at limited effect, which is that you can convince her that he does have the ability to just go, screw this, I'm not interested. But I don't think right now, you have the positioning to convince her to do that. I don't think you can convince her to be like, you know what, I am just going to get rid of all of the various like forms and like work that I've done because this is just taking too long. Yeah, but I think you can, like, Abbas is not Abbas is a charismatic man, and I think she can see that you are a religious person and someone in the community who should be like somewhat like respected, right? So I don't think she's going to necessarily pick a fight, but she's not super impressed yet. So yeah, I think desperate limited. It feels like you're swaying, but I reckon you might be doing something else.
No, sway is fine. I'm just trying to think that, okay, what could I do to improve my situation here?
There's always pushing yourself.
Yeah, I know, like, but something more. I mean, why not? Let's do it. Can anyone assist me in any way?
I have a devil's bargain for you.
Oh yes.
She's going to notice that you still have ghost burns because you haven't healed them yet.
Yeah, I think I could do that. I could take a devil's bargain.
Yeah.
And all right, so let's say push myself for better effect, and then I get an extra die on the. I was also thinking that maybe, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter, like, mechanically, but or maybe it does, I don't know, if Abbas could appeal to her sense of duty that, an inspector, will you really be so negligent as to let this two-bit foreman stop you? But, I mean, that's just the sway rule, I think. I mean, I don't think it really changes anything.
I don't know if this is a legitimate assist or how it'll change the fiction and so on. But like, if you were to name drop who you are, that you're with the Chakraborty, you're with the Ceaseless Temple, that's something that she knows, and you were just talking about like how her query might slip away, and her query is connected to the Ceaseless Temple. She knows that, right?
Yes, she does. So one of the reasons that like actually the ghost burns are a devil's bargain is that the ghost burns are indicative of weird arcane stuff. So it was the first step on her connecting Abbas to the temple. But I don't think that it's an assist from you because it's not you. Like what are you taking the stress for? Do you know what I mean? Like what are you doing to help?
Yeah, that's it. Nothing active, but more like I am the query.
I mean, drawing attention to herself would, I think, put Spray in a more stressful situation. Like, I think that makes sense. But maybe you can do something other than just. I mean, like, what is it that you're doing in the narrative? Are you just going, "It's you"?
Yeah, because then I won't be able to do my thing. No, I don't do anything.
All right, you know what? Let's.
I think I know an assist that's connected to this actually.
Oh, okay.
And it's an Attune related assist because if you are giving the vibes of like there's supernatural stuff that you might want to know inside here. I think there must be electroplasm around that we can kind of attune to and cause it to like give a strange vibe, flicker or something.
Okay.
All right.
And is there such?
Well, in fact, the Begum's much of the Begum's construction now, again post Archibald Ashcroft, are using Sparkcraft technology.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
It's modern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess I wave my hands unless Joan wanted to.
You can do it as well.
Yeah. But only one of us gets to assist.
Yes, exactly.
How would you do it?
Sure.
Very good.
Right, it's done. Here we go. Ooh, that came in handy. Came in handy.
Yeah, a 1, a 3, a 1, and a 5. This was a desperate position, by the way, so you should take XP.
Yeah, I've done that.
So I think with a 5, what happens is we see the electroplasm kind of flicker a little bit as you say your quarry, and you see her eyes in the blue electroplasmic light. Just, I think, for a moment, reflected in them, you kind of see the weather of Duskwall, the lightning storms and the rain, which you don't get so much of here, right? And then it disappears. And then she says, yes, you are indeed correct. Then she turns to the forewoman and says, please ignore what I said just now about charging you with obstruction of justice. I am writing up everybody in this what do you call it, construction site on conspiracy to commit fraud on an imperial inspector, which I believe in the first instance carries a fine of no less than 40 coin. Please make yourselves into an orderly line, and I will take your details momentarily. And I think your desperate consequence here is you have convinced her. You know, she is, as you say, an inspector. She can do whatever she likes. But what that does mean is she can do what she should be doing by the book, which is anyone who is obstructing her work is obviously a criminal. So, and like she's genuinely going to try and arrest everybody in this precinct. And the truth is that she could. Like, I mean, she is again an imperial inspector. That is the power of the office.
Okay.
Why is that a problem for us?
Because if she arrests everyone, how are we gonna go in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a way of resisting this, actually, from my rooftop.
Okay.
It is very dumb, but I think I want to do it anyway, because it's... so she goes all like, yes, please form an orderly line. I have to get in here urgently, but first I'm going to arrest everyone, right? So
yes.
What I'm resisting is her arresting everyone by just causing a commotion. We're hanging out on the rooftops, so she's going to be like, yes, I believe I urgently must go inside this building, and then some shit will go down inside.
Very good.
I think that's a reasonable way to resist it. It still means that everyone will be on edge, and she will be, you know, I'm basically just lessening this to risky consequence because she'll still be incredibly suspicious, but at least she'll be too busy investigating what is going on.
What if roof ball is technically illegal?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think what I will do is once more throw down the ball and have people react as if a live grenade has landed next to them, because everyone's afraid of the ball. So
yes. Okay. Yes, you can do this.
We're wasting a ball, but yeah, I'm resisting this by just chucking a ball into the area, and then people will see it and be like, "Oh shit, roof ballers!" And yeah,
once I deal with these hooligans, I'll arrest these criminals. Then I'll have my inspection.
Exactly. Yes. But this will cause a big commotion. So, what am I using to resist this? Prowess? Insight?
I think it's insight because insight says consequences from deception, which is what this is.
Yeah. Fair. I take 3 stress from throwing the ball.
2, 1, and 3.
But,
I think
yeah.
One of the reasons that it's very stressful is that Augustus Khan is almost like, you know what, I'm going to go down there. And then someone grabs him and is like, are you a moron? You can't be next to an inspector. And Augustus Khan is like, no, I have no problem. And so on.
Yes, we can get a new ball, and then it descends into arguments over that. Yep.
Yes, indeed. But like it does happen. And I think what we see is Constance kind of make like just for 1 second she like frowns and she says, no roof ball.
To be clear, my goal here is not for this to be obviously roof ball. My goal is for like people to freak out because the ball came down and like, oh shit, what is going on? And basically have everyone panic, right? So just clarifying that. Yep.
Yeah. I think that like when the ball falls, she says, no roof ball permits were issued for this location. They were right. Duasha is a pit of scum and villainy. And I think she looks at the forewoman and says, well, I expect you to have arranged all of your compatriots in short order, but I'm afraid that the matters are currently pressing upon me. And I think, yeah, you have successfully kind of distracted her from doing this right now. And I think the reason that she's actually focused on the roof ball thing is that she knows that the temple has a roof ball team. And it's possible that maybe if she grabs these people, they will lead her to the temple roof ball team and then maybe to Freya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to clarify, we are not actually here, but she doesn't know that yet. We just hurled the ball really far. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, having her chase the roof ball team is a consequence in and of itself.
Yep.
Also fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, have fun dealing with that.
Indeed.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I say that, all right, maybe now. Well, I guess the inspector's gone off after the roof ball team.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I
I guess you.
wouldn't say she's gone off necessarily. I think she's now trying to figure out where most efficient use of her time vis-a-vis roof ball is. So like she's like climbed up on a little rooftop, trying to locate the roof ballers, trying to figure out what route she should be taking. But yeah, that's where she's at right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to conjure up a little roof ball man for her to chase after
Incredible.
in
Okay.
the distance.
Tune?
I mean, I'm trying to persuade her. I mean, I can make the thing
Okay.
happen,
Sure, yeah.
right? I can always.
The way it
Yeah.
also works.
Even the Attune would be better for me, but I think it's the sway, right? I'm trying to persuade her
Yeah.
to go away.
Yeah, very fair.
Mm-hmm. What's my position in effect? To make a little roof ball man appear and for her to chase after it?
I think that you are in I think you're still in a desperate position. But you actually, in this case, you will have great effect, which is that it's entirely possible because this is what she's looking for, and if she finds it, she's gonna go for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, she's gonna fully expect that whenever she returns, all of these people are gonna be standing in a line for her to arrest them. So in her mind, that's just obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But and I think you are in the perfect like kind of fictional place to make this happen. And once that happens, actually, it's very easy to steal the cart because apparently now all of these people are going to be worried about getting arrested.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I think
So for the first thing that happens is that this costs me 4 stress.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Because not only will a little roof ball man appear, the little roof ball man is going to bounce a roof ball. He's going to say something like "Come on and slam, welcome to the jam" or something like that.
Oh my God! How long have you been sitting?
And then he's going to 3 minutes, and then he'll have to move, and he'll have to keep moving after I break my concentration.
Yes.
So unfortunately, it activates all of the conditions of Ghost Image, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be worth it. I'm sure this will succeed.
Great. Yeah.
There will be no problems whatsoever.
The mysterious masked roof baller. You know what? I will be assisting this. And the way I'm assisting this is it's kind of a flashback assist, but the assist is obviously this whole line of like "Come on and slam" and "Welcome to the jam." It was obviously invented by Augustus Khan, so you're not evoking him precisely, but he has taught you a bunch of cheesy roof ball lines.
Oh
Come on and say "Ela," the slam, and au revoir to the jam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh Lord. I really hope we don't have French listeners, by the way, because this is definitely a hate crime against French people at this point. But it's okay.
The reason that this causes vicar stress is that Augustus Khan is incredibly annoying, but precisely because of this, you can conjure an incredibly annoying roof ball man.
Yeah.
So it's desperate.
A devil's bargain for you.
Yeah. Sorry, it's desperate. And what was the effect?
Great.
Standard? Oh, great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you would need great effect to get an inspector off your trail.
Fair enough.
But like you do have that. And I have a devil's bargain for you, which is that you have an elephant demon of literally deception and trickery interested in you. Right?
Yeah.
And this seems like the kind of deception and trickery that maybe a demon would exactly be tickled by.
Do you want to start a clock for that?
So I think that like I want to start a clock for something like the demon gains a foothold, a trunk hold. Like I'll think of a pun in a second. But I think currently the demon is not in the present. It's somewhere in the future, but it could come into the present.
The clock just needs to be called the elephant in the room, obviously.
Oh my god. Elephant. Can't believe.
And this is the episode title as well.
Yes, you are correct. I will tick it once. Excellent. At so 1, a 6, a 4, and a 4 with 4 dice. I think that like what happens is your illusion has like a couple of details that only like a student of Roof Ball would know to replicate, right? And like that's what really sells it. What do you think like when Constable's eyes kind of like land on this image and then, you know, this guy goes, come on and slam, welcome to the jam, whatever it was that you said. Like he does a little like flourish or something. Do you think that like that thing is where it's like, oh yeah, this guy is definitely one of those roof ballers that like work for the angels?
The ball kind of spins on the ground, and he's like balancing on a finger on top of the ball while his feet are up in the air.
Wow, excellent.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're known for breakdance now too. Okay.
I think no. I think Augustus Khan is known for breakdance, and I think he's trying to make it a thing. So
yes,
definitely people know, and the new guy on your team is character with a capital C.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but notably, this is an illusion, so it's not necessarily him.
Oh, it's not necessarily
we have
him.
plausible deniability.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
It just has those vibes, you know.
Yeah, it just has those vibes, but it doesn't necessarily look like him. So I just want to point out that since you did generate a consequence here, it's not like it's absolutely and definitely us.
No, it's not. Yeah.
It just could be. Yeah.
I think
It doesn't have the romantic eye patch.
Yeah.
And more to the point, he succeed. Like the thing he's doing, Augustus Khan can't actually do that. He keeps trying, and then he falls down, and then he breaks the bone. That's why it's called breakdancing.
Yes,
makes sense.
Good. And as Constable sees this in the distance, you see her kind of just crack her neck left, right, take a deep breath, and then just go off running across these roofs. And I presume at some point, like, you know, the illusion is going to like turn a corner and then disappear. But like, it's far enough that it's going to keep Constable occupied for a while. And even when it disappears, Constable's going to be bothering people to try and find it. So actually, with great effect right now, she's gone for a little bit. So like, I don't think that like you have really any other trouble here because it's chaos in this construction site.
Excellent.
I thought about it and I was like, who do we have that can drive something? I think maybe our best candidate is Joan. I'm not sure.
Of course it is.
Yeah, there's a real track.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. So I think you should just walk in and like take the reins and drive out and just be like, yes, I was instructed to do this.
Yeah, we just walk in, we flash our clipboards. There's like I don't know, a library card that I flash as well.
A library card? Yes, very good.
No, I think what it is because you have to make this look Akorosi and official, right? I think it's like something that Vickers has written in her very neat and almost illegible handwriting. It's like a receipt, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. I honestly don't think that like there is a role or a challenge here. I think like you've set everything up perfectly to be able to like get this out.
Yeah, we just walk past these people who are like lining themselves up to get arrested.
Well, I in fact think that what is happening is that some of them are lined up. Some of them are like having a conversation about what if we run away? Is she really going to know that it's us? And the forewoman is trying to get everybody to stop lining up because her theory is if nobody lines up, then they can't arrest any of us. This is incorrect. She will arrest every single one of you. But that is why there is chaos. That like there's a lot of so I think like you go in and you steal the carriage and it's a couple of minutes before anybody realizes, and by then you're around the corner.
All right, spotlight Dijon.
Yeah. So what does this carriage look like? Is it or how is it driven? Is it like you get on the reins, or is it
Oh, I think it's got
does it
like
have
I think it's got like a little chunky panel because you are just
Right.
like interacting with the golem, the wax golem.
Now I'm wondering, maybe this isn't a carriage at all. If this is pulled by like a 6-legged wax golem thing, maybe it's not so much a carriage as it's just a house on the back of a 6-legged golem.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a balance.
maybe it's just some sort of freaky
yeah,
walking craft.
absolutely. Yes, you know what? You're right. It's
A
not
miniature Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay, so it's just like a little house with 6 legs that has some sort of. I don't know how waxwork golems are commanded. I don't think they would have like modern tech-looking panels, right? Because this is an
No.
ancient art.
Yeah, so I think
Did you
like
include?
has like when I think of like chunky panels, I'm thinking of like something like carved out of like stone that is like hooked up to the internals of this golem. No, I don't think it's like necessarily buttons that you push. It's probably more like some kind of like applying pressure to different parts of like the thing to make it go different places. And I
What if
suspect
it's like there's these kind of like waxed threads that you have to pull on with your fingers like you're a puppeteer?
ooh,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes, absolutely. Like you probably don't need to be like a very experienced puppeteer to like operate this, but like if you were a good one, then like you could get like use out of this that like would be incredibly efficient and fast and so on.
It's like Candlewick.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess you're making your way to the train station.
Yes. That's where we are going with this
Yes.
thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Have we picked up a bus on the way?
Yeah. I guess I was waiting outside the gates and could just hop on.
Yeah, I think that's very easy to do. And as you're driving through, I mean, like this is not an uncommon sight at all in Uduasha. It's not like the most common thing, but like these golems are like reasonably well known and they're like all over the city. So one of them going from Udeput to the train station, it's kind of weird only in that like when you're in the imperial quarter, it's very much like okay, kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. But even then, you know, like everybody knows what it looks like. I think that like when you make your way into the imperial quarter, when you start to realize that wax golem that you are operating is definitely also like logging everything that you're doing. It's just got like an internal log. It's not like a big deal. It's not like they don't have internet. It's not sending it to like a central data bank. This is probably one of the things that Begum Bashundra's put in so that they don't go on joyrides on this, but is definitely thinking about what you are doing. And you can make your way to the train station without much of a problem because I think it's like.
Do we want to do something about it logging the track?
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I
like,
was thinking.
you could do something about the logging, but I don't think that there's anything interesting in like getting to the train station. If you wanted to like park it somewhere and then do that, you could do that. You did. What I was gonna say was you don't have to do this on the move necessarily.
Makes sense. Do you think that no, there's nobody here who really knows waxwork?
Nope. Aggressively, no. In fact, yeah. Unless one of your roof wall people does, or unless you brought someone who does. This is actually literally the worst place in the city to find someone who knows anything about waxwork.
How are we figuring out that it's logging stuff?
I think that once you get a feel for the way that like it moves, you realize that like every time you move your fingers, there is like a shadow movement that kind of immediately follows it, and you realize that what's happening is that like something else is kind of replicating everything you're doing, or like at least the memory of everything you're doing, and like storing it somewhere in the golem.
I mean, there must be some way to access this record, this wax record, or whatever it is.
It's probably like a
where
wax
it's
cylinder,
stored.
actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, exactly. We should probably just search the golem and try and find it.
Can we like I don't know, fuck with it, like attune to it, kind of like a override or something?
Yeah, and in fact, Joan does have some insight into waxwork golems, having eaten one. So she may be
Mhm.
True.
uniquely.
Hey, John, just get in there and get in there with your teeth.
If
Chew
we do
your way
attune
towards
to
it.
so here's the thing, if we do attune to it, like so waxwork golem, right? So it's made of the spirits of like the remains of the dead, kind of. So it's kind of like a person too. So instead of think of it as a machine, if we think of it as a person and attune to it, we can give it amnesia.
By our powers combined, we're going to give this thing amnesia.
Yes.
Indeed.
Pretty fair.
You could do that. I do have a question for you though, Joan, which is, have you arranged entry with Kahara?
I think Kahara is still away. So
She is. You're right.
so I can't. I would have,
Yeah.
but I can't.
So in that case, like when you get in, who is your contact that kind of makes sure everything is smooth?
Wait, why are we talking about getting in? Like we want to take care of this first, right?
Oh no. Okay.
Yes.
I thought the way that we were doing that, this was happening is that you basically were going to park your car somewhere and then fiddle with the engine. But if that's not it, then that question doesn't matter. I'll ask it again in a sec. But yeah, you can just
Because
find
the
your car.
idea is to if we go a long way and then by then it's logged a bunch of stuff, right?
Okay. Yes. Correct. You're absolutely right. You're smarter than me. That hadn't even struck me. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So I guess in fact what you've done is found somewhere in Udeput to kind of set down for a second while you do this.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
We are trying to disable the memory of this thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is what we're doing.
Yeah. Abbas suggested giving it amnesia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to make that a group action or something?
Yeah, we could all attune to it and
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Like we're all rubbing our hands on this thing.
Mhm.
If Joel wants to take a bite out of it, I don't know.
Very good. I think because it's all of you, you are not in a desperate position. I think you're in a risky position.
Vickers, to clarify, is not here, so she can't be part of this, but the rest of you can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The rest of us spooky people. I don't think Vickers even has any dots in Attune, right?
No.
When has that ever
Yeah.
stopped anyone?
No.
That's fair.
But
Uh-huh.
and brief aside, I do think one of the things that also unites all of us is a willingness or even an eagerness to roll things that we are bad at.
Mm-hmm.
So something to
I have a suggestion for an angle for Freya here if you're aiming to mess with its memories, which is that you have had your memories messed with yourself. So maybe you can infuse it with, or actually maybe you can infuse it with some bullshit taught to you by the esteemed lady in Shades of Rose and Gold.
Oh.
I like the idea of picking at the part of me, the kind of the void in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good devil's bargain for me. I don't know if we can start some sort of clock for me reactivating something that should be suppressed.
So for conservation of clocks, I mean, I will start this clock, but I think in my mind, the elephant and the void are going to be somewhat linked, which is to say that if one fills, then the amount that the other one is filled is also I think going to inform how the fiction goes, because that is both of them have to do with your weird arcane nature. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can even conserve it even further. I'm doing tricky bullshit.
You are doing tricky bullshit.
And the elephant is all about tricky bullshit.
Okay, the elephant in the room / void. It is great. Makes sense.
The elephant in the void.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's leading this?
I
don't
am.
want it to be
I
me.
think
Fair
I
enough.
am because of the insight into golems from having eaten them.
This makes sense.
Okay, I'm going to roll risky standard with the devil's bargain.
A 2, a 5, 1,
5.
and a 2. I mean, it's still a 5. 5, 5, 3. So still a 5 from Joan. And Abbas. That's a 3. Why does Abbas stress Joan out? Is it because you are so reverential of the waxwork golems that you really don't want to be doing this?
well, it could be. I think maybe there is a little bit of like maybe it was Abbas's plan to do this, but then when he actually starts doing it and starts conceptualizing this as a person, and he's like, "Oh, this is
Fucked up.
like, yeah, it's fucked up what we're doing."
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're not wrong.
Mhm.
Uh,
Freya does
Does he
it with
say
like.
anything, or is it just a vibe?
Sorry?
Do you say anything to express that it's fucked up, Abbas?
Maybe just a grimace is like, "Oh no, this was I think this was a really bad idea actually," and maybe, maybe that's what it is. Like while Abbas has failed, so he has not actually done anything, and while you and while Freya and Joan are actually doing the thing, he's just complaining the whole time. He's like, "Oh, why did I say this? This is terrible. We should stop. This is bad."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Freya is definitely doing it with a disturbing amount of glee, being like, "Oh, this is fun. I know how to do this. I've been here."
Oh no, yeah, that is disturbing. Okay, then I think what happens here is you manage to get access to its kind of like inner workings in some way, right? And like the way that you do it clearly is by pretending that it is a person and like trying to figure out whether, given that it's a person, you can make it into a person who is going to forget what is happening. But I think your risky consequence here is that as you fiddle with it, and especially Joan, I think that like this is probably maybe like a tick on your clock for Joan changes her mind about golems, which is I think you realize that maybe it is the case that they are really kind of like people. And they're not really like people. They're more like what happens when people exist like in a kind of weird group consciousness where none of them are really have any individuality, but there's some humanity in there, right? And
Clearly, they're not people. They're better than people.
indeed, yes. Oh, excellent. Yes, you are correct. I think the risky consequence is each of you realizes that this is a superior state of being in some ways. Because when you fiddle around with it, you actually see that like the wax golem, in whatever way that it has consciousness, like gains a deep satisfaction, a deep joy from doing what it is designed to do.
Can I suggest an alternate consequence / twist this around somewhat? I think it would be cool if part of like taking the memories out of this thing is that you just get them yourselves.
Yeah.
Like you just get some of the weird memories of dead people that this thing carries
Oh
around.
yeah, absolutely. That is also a very good consequence, actually. You know what? I think that like the reason that you realize that they gain this very deep, that this golem is finding somehow self-actualization by doing this job, is that each of you sees a memory of this golem doing this thing, but from the point of view of one of the people whose bodies went into making this golem. And that is an intensely terrible experience, but it's only a psychic experience, and it has no meaningful effect on your physical body, I don't think.
I think what would be funny if, as a result of this, we, instead of going straight to the Imperial Quarter, where we're supposed to be going, we spend a fair bit of time just driving around, because driving around is fun.
Absolutely.
This is good. This is what we're for. Driving around.
And, I don't think this golem gets taken on joyrides. So actually, it's having a really good time being taken on a joyride. And maybe even you are public menaces and you go very fast down a road that you really shouldn't be going that fast down. But you have a good time doing it.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, like now that I said that out loud, there's probably some heat in there because so people have definitely noticed this happening. So I think it's one heat. I think you also have weird fucked up memories. So I think like it's piling a lot on if I make it more than one heat, but definitely one heat. And I think maybe when you come back to yourselves, you are in front of a chai shop, and there's a bunch of other golems also there, and like you're in the parking lot of this chai shop. Or let me rephrase that, because chai shops don't have parking lots. You're at like a...
They do in Uduput, where this sort of thing's taken seriously.
Yes, you know what? Fair, yeah. But you're still in the golem. Most people leave the golem and then go to drink chai. You were just still in the golem because you really you just like this. And then this is
And that's how the drive-through chai shop was invented.
Yeah, there's a small child of indeterminate age and gender looking up at you saying, "Ma'am, do you want something, or are you happy just sitting there? Like, do you want me to bring you a chai?"
I think Freya kind of like pokes Joan on the shoulder because Joan's still holding the reins and says, "Let's take it inside the chai shop. It deserves some tea too."
Yeah, fair point.
Are you gonna try and take it
Do you
inside
think
the
we can
shop?
fit? Well, I am unstable as trauma, so this seems like something unstable to
Excellent.
do.
Yes. No. Very good.
Yeah.
Abbas.
We all like tea. This is a bunch of people from Uduasha inside a golem together. Everyone here likes
Yes.
tea. It deserves tea.
And I think it will make Abbas feel better as well to give us some tea after what we've done to it.
Well, I think what you see is we see this golem, and the chai shop is a little stand on the side of a road. You can't really take it in the shop, but I think there is definitely like an informal, like, people sitting around, standing, whatever. And now the golem, and people like are kind of like jumping out of your way, cursing at you, being like, "What the hell are you doing?" But you don't pay attention, and you walk very calmly in front of the chai shop, and the guy who's serving chai, who has seen many weird things, I think, in his life, just raises an eyebrow and says, "So, to go, or do you want to stay?"
To go, please.
Very good. It's an extra some amount of money, some nominal amount of money for a flask. Do you want a flask?
I look around at the rest of the people in the not car as if we are really in a drive-through. Like, do we want a flask? Do we want a flask?
We want 4 flasks.
Yes.
4 flasks.
Excellent.
Very good.
4 flasks.
Make mine black with ginger. And what do we want? And I poke the golem.
I think the golem expresses a desire for more driving because it does not understand the idea of tea. But if you I think like in a weird echo way, the memory that you got, the person who contributed that part of the golem to the golem, liked that tea very milky and very sweet.
Okay, really milky, really sweet, and with a shot of coffee inside it.
The guy looks up at you and very calmly says, "We don't serve coffee here. You want that, you have to go somewhere else, probably Imperial Quarter." They take this very seriously in Uduasha.
This is a tea
This is a chai shop. Sorry. Like, you wanna get coffee? Them's fighting words.
I thought Uduasha was like an amalgam of the Middle East and South Asia, and in the Middle East they drink coffee.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
Yeah, but
sorry, I've just seen what.
Yes.
you drink coffee at a coffee house, and this is a chai shop.
Oh my god! I have no mouth, but I must drink chai.
Well,
I'm dead.
fair enough.
I mean, no, yeah, indeed, correct. Yes. I was gonna say something. Yes, I think that like coffee in the Uduasha that I'm imagining is probably an imperial import to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, but that's fine. I was just making
for
a
sure.
joke.
But
I think the twist on it is you see that the city folks drink tea and the Akrosi do drink the coffee, but it's also drunk by the people who live like on the countryside in Iruvia.
yes, that's nice. Yeah.
The Ketrisis are famous for it in their ghetto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah, you get 4 flasks. You know what, Joan? Why don't you roll your lifestyle? I'm just curious. As a fortune.
I want to suggest that after this amusing scene, which takes up a lot of time, we catch up with what Vickers has been up to while we're wasting time. And she's like, "Yes, this is my part of the plan. I'm doing my work. Everything's on point."
Indeed, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So sure, we can cut back to Vickers.
Yeah, but sorry, just give me a sec. Joan rolled a 6 on her lifestyle. So in fact, the flasks that she's getting for everyone are really quite nice. I think like they are made out of like some kind of spirit wax, and they keep the chai very warm inside. and you can reuse them. They're recyclable, you know. But yeah, so great, very nice tea, I think. And yeah, what's
Yes.
Vic has been up to?
So I have marked subterfuge supplies as Vickers is waiting for the others to go through with the plan, and she is at the railroad with herself and her crew, obviously dressed up as, again, Begum Bashundara's people don't have uniforms. So we have done our best to look like the people who would, the carriage is there for officiality. But you still need a team to like load up all the products, because as I understood, it's quite a lot of stuff
quite a lot of
that
stuff
we're taking. Yeah, so we are there as the carrier team, which means that Vickers has lined up her roofball team, who are like undisciplined thugs, so they're not the best at this sort of job, but it's keeping it together. So we have lined up and are waiting outside the place and let's be clear, this is, Uduasha is not the most organized place, so people waiting around for their boss to show up is pretty commonplace, I think. So we are basically playing the role of like, we're working for someone important and they haven't showed up yet, so we're loitering.
Right. Yeah.
I say we're playing that role. It's kind of just what the team is doing, but it doesn't look too out of place.
Yes.
Because, and so what we will see is Vickers herself, who has not changed her clothes very much. But who has adapted with her subterfuge supplies the persona of like an organizer of these people. I think largely by donning a hat.
Yes, as we know, hats do confer
In fact, it is
authority.
Yes, in fact, it is a top hat.
Excellent.
It doesn't match the rest of what she's wearing, but it's a top hat because it marks her as a person of
Very
importance.
Good. We see Augustus Khan see you and say, Madame, you look resplendent. Truly a vision.
Oh, yes, right. Now, everyone, we must also get in character. That reminds me. Augustus, in this very moment, we are not distinguished roofball team. I know that will be difficult for everyone, but we are rather ordinary workers here to carry out some wares. And so I would like everyone to adopt their best rustic accent. If you please.
I think you see Augustus genuinely flinch back, and he says, but Madame Vic, Madame, we can never be ordinary. We are the angels of death.
You're quite right. All right, forget the rustic accent. We are now carriers of goods and also mimes.
Okay, I think,
Is this like a gambit to get him to shut up?
Yes.
He salutes and then turns around and somehow conveys, using his hands, because I don't think he speaks sign language, but nevertheless conveys to all of the roofball team that they better shut up, better do a really good impression of a mime, or he will throttle them and make them mimes.
Yes, perfect. We are. This is all according to the plan, and so to really embrace this part of the disguise that makes perfect sense, Vickers will spontaneously arrange a mime performance outside the railroad for tips.
Okay.
We're street performers and also the carrying team.
This seems like a command to make your
the roofball team is not any good at this.
Yeah,
either.
they will roll 0 dice here, to be clear.
They are complete garbage at this. I don't even think this is a group action.
Okay.
I think it's just command to like get them to behave.
Very reasonable. Okay. Yeah. Let's say this is risky standard. What is your goal here? Is it just to distract people, or is it to like establish your cover?
My goal is to establish my cover.
Okay.
Of
you can do this.
Workers who have side gigs as mimes.
You know what? Yes. You can do this, and the risk is there are some people here who are amused by how terrible you are and would like you to keep performing and will not permit you to leave and do your other job.
Absolutely. Yes, I just think the only reason I need to make this an action is that we're waiting for people. Otherwise, we could just show up and do the work. But now we need a cover identity.
100%,
so yeah.
So yeah, risky standard command.
Okay, excellent. Do I want the devil's bargain or something?
I think that maybe You know what? Sure. Here's the devil's bargain. I will say that like you will lose some of your team to the art of mimery because they just enjoy it so much.
This is a terrible devil's bargain, and I will not take it.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, what would the risk be? And I was like, yeah. Oh, great.
Yes, no, I rolled risky stat at a 1, a 3, and a 6. Yeah. It turns out that we are. It turns out that we are mediocre mimes.
You are not so bad.
We're not so bad that we attract. Yeah, we're not so bad that it's so bad it's good.
And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the Ceaseless Temple thus, with both their given names and taken. Soumithri, called Tree. Zoheb, called Klow. Prince, Emma, and Aadiyat, called Soap. Intro music, Jalandhar by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Keeravani Ragam by Srinivas. Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
Yeah, now that they're distracted in a path, I can like kind of sneak at both of them without the other noticing.
Yeah, you know what? Instead of going in and yelling something about a well, I will do the thing that will stop any makeouts from continuing, which is I will go there and be a mime.
that does conclude
I have
most
started
makeouts.
a terrible trend.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Yes. I guess we just get this image of you trying to mime something to them. Like, and then they just stop, the both of them.
Oh no, I'm actually good at
great.
this.
But even then, they are so baffled by what is going on. And one of them's like...
Is Freya mockingly imitating their makeout
Oh my
session?
god, yeah, indeed.
No, I'm a little man in a box.
Of course, well, let's see this roll in that case.
You're doing this in a flashback, right? So this is before the score.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want to imagine Freya did this with the fake mustache on anyway, having
Yeah, of
prepared
course.
for the score.
She's actually been wearing the fake mustache for the last, like, 4 weeks.